I got you there. Anywho, we're talking about sound waves. Now before we get into all the good stuff, like breaking the sound barrier, audio visuals, beats, guitars, drums, frequencies, all that cool shit, let's talk about the basics. You know, like the foundations, you know what I'm actually talking about? And not just listening with your mouth wide open and slobbering on the table, you disgusting piece of shit. Waves! No, not tidal waves. No, not tsunamis either. Dude, we aren't in the marine biology class. This is fit! Well, to start off, waves are a means of transferring energy and momentum from one point to another without matter being involved at all. Something like that at least. Oscillation is the repetitive or periodic variation, typically in time of some measure of essential value or between two or more different states. Some pretty neat examples of oscillation are a swinging pendulum and an alternating current. You know, like this weird, funky, wiggly line? These two need each other, but I doubt you hear me mention the word oscillation a lot in this video, maybe like once or twice. So anyways, there are two waves you should know about: mechanical waves and electromagnetic waves. Electromagnetic waves are created through a vibration of the magnetic and electric field. This form of wave ignores everything. It literally ignores everything. It can go through the vacuum of space infinitely. Let's say I'm at point A. Oh, that's the sun. Okay. And oh look, I'm there. The sun didn't stand a chance against me. It pretty much exists through the oscillation of the magnetic and electric fields. And that's all you need to know from this, because we're not going to be focusing on electromagnetic fields today. Mechanical waves are not at all like electromagnetic waves. They can't just exist through the vacuum of space infinitely like electromagnetic waves can. They go through matter. If you don't know what matter is, it's honestly just kind of sad. Google it. It pretty much just is everything. Mechanical waves move through matter, and it needs it in order to transfer their energy through point A to point B. The reason I say we're focusing more on this form of wave is because we're looking at sound waves. You should know that from the start of this video. There are a few more things to it than just that, but let's just talk about bees because they kind of help cover all our bases because they're kind of pretty cool. Now you may have heard of this really bad movie called The Bee Movie. This movie misleads you into thinking that bees have mouths and bees can talk.
You like jazz?
And that's what makes their buzzing noise. But what if I told you that bees, the buzzing sound, is a form of transverse waves? Transverse waves are how these small little winged insects make their buzzing noise, like flies, mosquitoes, and bees. A transverse wave, according to Google, a wave in which the vibrating element moves in a direction perpendicular to the direction of advance of the wave. It's a stupid definition if I'm being real. Doesn't help me understand it at all. But all you need to know is that it vibrates, right? And that sounds a lot like how a bee makes their buzzing noise. Because how a bee makes their buzzing noise is their wings. The bee's wings move mad fast. So fast, they can flap their wings 200 times in a second. At least something around those numbers. It's still incredibly fast. Like, we can't do anything around that time. Can you flap your hand? No. Can you like wiggle your hand up and down 200 times in a second? No, you can't. If you were to take a graph of the transverse wave and the bee's wings flapping, then it looked like this. The amplitude would be making the crest go all the way up here and the through all the way down here, with the wavelengths, aka period, being pretty much non-existent. Which in turn also means the frequency of the bee is high, around 200 and 250 hertz, which we all know the feeling of. You're sitting outside, and that bee that I hate just rocks up and buzzes in my ear for zero fucking reason. Same with mosquitoes, which by the way have a higher frequency, the 300 to 400. It's just higher, and it's just more annoying. Which also, by the way, would make their wavelengths slightly shorter than the bees. So look a little more like this. At the current conversation of frequencies, you ever wonder why we can't hear a dog whistle? Well, let me explain it to you, my friend. Humans can. So the dog. It's when the frequency of sound, light, or other waves as a source observer move towards or away from each other. You ever notice when an ambulance is heading in your direction? Not only is it loud as hell, but like the pitch of the siren is getting higher the closer it gets to you. And then like it shatters your eardrums when it drives by. But then when it goes away, like the pitch goes back to being lower, like it's a riser in music, kind of. Not really, but like it kind of maybe is, but like in a more calming way. That's the Doppler effect. Something else we can imagine is lightning striking. It's like a f***ing jump scare, you know? Or think about a volcano erupting from afar. It's slow, But when you're a little closer and see the volcano erupt and you're like within range, just listen. Just listen.
Watch out for the shock, it's coming.
Like, damn! You think that shit broke the sound barrier or something, like, right? Speaking of breaking the sound barrier, let's talk about that for a quick sec. Well, first off, let's say you see one of them jets approaching. You won't be able to hear anything. You see the plane, you see the engines going at it, working hard, but like, where's the sound at? You see the trees bending like a tornado's about to start forming on you? You don't hear anything. And then suddenly the plane just like moves in your direction over your head. And then your eardrums are crying. This was you being in the range of the Mach cone. It's not like you're directly below the plane to experience the sonic boom. If you're within the range of the Mach cone, you'll feel it for sure. The sound of the sonic boom isn't the engines going off. It's kind of like the air being split, releasing that awesome sonic boom sound. Ignoring what I just said, the speed of sound is actually different depending on how high or low you are from the land. On land, it's roughly like 730 miles per hour, 750. In the sky, it can be a little lower to like 630, 600 in general. Either way, after passing those speeds, the speed doesn't really matter. The difference between Mach 1 and Mach 1.3 is strong, but the difference between Mach 1.3 and Mach 2 can really just be nothing and just forgettable. Kind of like the beam, but let's say you're traveling at Mach 2, you have your classic sonic boom, you fly, but then, let's say you fly more stupid. If you fly in this curvy shape that conveniently looks like a transverse wave graph that I showed you earlier, you get a much stronger. Anyways, that's all I got for breaking the sound barrier. If you want more, go look at the Infographics Show's video about this subject. It's pretty much where I learned everything about this. So, let's talk about audio visuals.
No.
Oh shit, is that a plane?